Today I would like to talk about the reflection on the 50th anniversary of the Oromo struggle for freedom. This is the first organized Oromo struggle for freedom in the Oromo history. So it's a very significant event. It's Twin Cities of Minnesota and in Nairobi as well. It's a global event. So I'm not trying to hear it today. I'm not going to tell you about the history because most of you are historians and know about history. And more importantly, we have people with us who made that history in the first place. So you will hear from the history part, from the elders who are part of that struggle and who made that history. What I would like to talk about is reflection how this is prepared. A little bit about myself. I was born in Mandawalabo, a small town called Bidre. And I went to school in Minnesota, studied material science and engineering. I worked in that field for a technology-based company in Minnesota. And I involved in many community activities, news organization, or American Oromo Community of Minnesota, and other, and Live Kids. I'm involved in a lot of NGO programs. It's a topic for another day. But more importantly, I'm part of the 50th anniversary committee. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Forward. So a little bit of background. The Oromo struggle for freedom hasn't started in the 1960s. It's something that followed from, we all know what happened to Walda Oromo. And the event of Chadi Tarango and the Annole, Hakamura and Harmumura is very fresh in our minds. The Bale event, the case of Bale is the last stop where the tyrant decided to wipe off Oromo off the map for the last time. And they said, the land sued you, so you have to leave. And you don't belong here. When I ask people, say, where are we going to go? They said, you can go to a place called Edbe Chawarrat. It's a place in Somalia. Okay? So this is what I'm going to talk about. It is not a single event. It's a cascade of the things that happened to Oromos historically. Forward. I'll just continue because, so I would like to show the video that the message from General Wako Gutu himself, but it seems like we have a little bit of technical difficulties, but I will continue. But I would like to say this struggle is very personal for me as it is for most people from that part of the region. Dire Reis as my grandfather on my dad's side. I didn't get to see him. I didn't see him. My father didn't see him. He was arrested right after he had my father and got assassinated in Goba along with Mama Gada Kalu. He was among the people who put the first seed of the struggle for freedom. And then on my mom's side, Wako Lugo is another pioneer. He was a political leader. Many of you may know his name, but I don't think you know his contribution to the struggle. From the way I see it, he's a strategic leader. He formed alliances with many tribes that live in southern Ethiopia, the Somali Oromos, and he traveled up to the north to make alliances with people. He personally recruited many of the best fighters and generals and colonels that we know today. Name any famous part of the struggle, he personally recruited them. And he was a top negotiator. And the struggle itself had, many people just know the military part of it, but it has also the political side. People, I just listed few of them here. People who did the military on the military side, others on the political leaders. And political leaders made things available to them, things like food, water, and administrating the people, and so forth. And I hear about, when we talk about this struggle, sometimes it is being referred to as peasant revolt, the Bale peasant revolt. And I want you guys to rethink about that. Because if you look at just a comment that's written at that time, where the leader spoke, I just want to highlight a few things. I won't be able to read many of the comments. He said, "Oh, our people remember don't forget that you are people with history and honor, reminding people who we were. Historically, we were free people. And he's reminding them, the enemy occupied our land and made us slaves and gabbars in our own land. And he goes on to say, stand up to fight for your freedom and never accept. And you cannot say this come from a peasant. Maybe it was a profession, but these people are people who know they are free and willing to defend it, that freedom, at all cost. And what he provided was a genuine leadership. And General Wakogutu himself is not a man of a lot of words. He's a man of few words. But people followed him, and he united the people because of his actions, and he's genuine about what he does. And that's the type of leadership we need today. And I would like to talk a little bit about the price of the struggle itself. Many try to put together, what happened, when from the Oromo side, what happened to the tyrant during that fight, the period of 7-8 years where this struggle took place. I'm not going to go into details because it's murky. There is no accurate record of what really happened at the time. But what I can assure you is the unimaginable human suffering that happened at that time. If video works, I would like to show a little bit.
Dombiro sena kaba sena mallato kaba namni dombiri kapsa eduga iyitu kaba kaka warra dombiri warana jira wako kazari chitte jira
Kapso kuda sakai hatan isan yalkamte am family ane rada late buya sadafa lubuna wasuddo bisombat pakakapai God of Amari Mornak Yuyat Chandan Sini Kadu Sunar Randune Umatorora Gresava or Mati Abaki Yarabin Duresa and Mabuyas and Duresa, Uya Duresa, Uyasa Digiromo Radama Makajora Taupana, they don't put Kankam. One is good. Abaki Dalofi Mitikade, Dalofi Mitikade, Asi Mitikade. Wala fi mitade orumma mena matu operati ki adu tu de sangoda nan matu operati kawa harati budu de harate sangoda namu hara kawa hari dute wiya orumma dute orumtitti asomma orumati dute mo rakko ganda si tu
ne gize sarakai abanne bakai dudlo gaba ena jino welma hatta jilina ko buya samata afiti ko elole jino ko butu Nami amara achindu fitani akanati lulle gafsanille achumar raqabe ayyar ingize nu tokkosan oil markesa gaditti akasum ayyar nu tokkosani gala fitani rimar hada rimetti ajjesani ilmen dutun hada ratette ho dut hati dute ilmen dutun namashan bera ilmen isindu taati ratet bera shantu buya sandu ta ilmen ratette ho sena akati walilulle isa ajjene findetti dune
انت لا كورنيل آدم جلودن كأوبريتي ثيا وران إثيوبيا أبي حجر أبوجيه حجر قاتل أبام تجرتي حجر قاتل بحسن جدنين بحسن آدم جلودنين هذا جلود أكو تارجتي حاجة ديته ويا سدي جرتو هذا حنا قدي حاجة ما تتروبلا سبله دوامي تنداه حاجة ما تأرجنه علمي أرجته علمي يصير سرقات أبد علمي سنجراته نم المسون قد سهادة فيها المسون اللي مكان سيها بونة جدني انت لا ويا سدي أرجتين ويا سدي الله هكذا لتين تلسوني ذهبوا أبدي عادة يسيء الفقبض نملك أبو شبرات محمد أبدي يبو يدنيني جارتي ساتي يتن روفته علم اللي غيره كيسات جيبته سلة جيب
تو قبل ما دبي أمار جيكي جنان ديمي بيسوالي ديمي قوي برتة قلة كان الرامبي بربديش لني اتباهني بقى قبلنا كنا فلم كنا لقي سمساني إنسان بقى كذا ما نتيجة قبلني تيجي تكوسان خاصنا تكوتش بتشا قبته منابه سنجزء بتأته أول سن لفان كويه كراش سن لفان كويه جت أبسيا كمان فرنتي أتى بوم بيت دربني أجيسا جيسا مثلا بقى كاري فساني أنا مثلا يتنا في دني بوم بيت دربني كأجي فمه natti fidanii bakka wallaalanii jennaan namni kun eenyuu naan jira ganda keenyatti jedhee egasii bakka jiloo bariisuu ka jedha isaa jennaan ka barbaadu tokkochi isa jedhanii kibtaan eessa seenee nuun jedhanii nuka manni gubatee ilmi dhumee namni guddaa mani jiru du'ee dhiigi nama ardii qabate kana nyaachiftan eessa jiru nuun jedhanii nutumanii sadafiin nuqaanii egasii bakka ka ajjeesanii tare nu waan harkaa qabnu hin qabnu oo barbaaddu nu fixaa nu eenyaa fi haga kana kun ka dhumee reefa argitanii horiin ka dhumee xiyyitiin fixxe nu kun haga kanatti walii qabamee jira noo barbaaddan nu fixaa nu amma jirumaayyuu hin barbaannu dhumuu barbaanna.
There are families that our entire family has been finished because of this struggle. There are women who are killed, children who are killed, numerous people. And they will only make that impact if you see the video, but more you will hear from most of them today. But I want to say, what is the achievement of that struggle? All this property damage and the human suffering that took place is the first itself, it's a very distinguished struggle. It's the first ever organized militarily and politically Oromo's struggle against Ethiopian state. This is undeniable fact. It's liberated Bale and the surrounding areas. For 7 years, these people were governing themselves with their own way of system. It was Gada system. It went on to inspire another generation of Oromos who continue that struggle beyond 1960s. In long-term contribution today, we have such a thing that's called Oromia Regional State, or the Oromo language, and it's a language of the university today. It's because of what they lay down at that time. I wanted to show just some of them, their faces. Some of them are here, people with stars are here today to speak. Many of them died. They left on this struggle, perished. We cannot, these are just some of the prominent ones that we can find a picture. To celebrate the achievement of these people and to teach that history to the rest of the world. You would think it's a slam dunk to make that celebration and unite everybody around it, but it wasn't that easy. There are people, I just have to be clear, very brief on it. There are people who started the awareness of celebrating 50th anniversary at the beginning. And those people kind of felt entitled to hijack the agenda, and everybody has to follow what they said, basically. And it was a little bit devious plan, but at the end, it was people who were part of the history were not involved at the beginning. So when they heard about it and wanted to get involved, they were told, okay, we'll handle everything. So all you have to do is wear a suit that day and come in and sit down. Don't say anything. You're gonna, you're not gonna say the right thing. We, the professionals, the leads, will do the work. Okay. This is where they said, we ain't dead yet. We didn't ask permission to fight in the first place. We're not going to ask people to celebrate what we've done. So I have talked to many professionals at the time, and I got all kind of excuses. Say, this is a noble cause. Okay, what's next? But I'm a little busy. Can you make it next year, 2014? I am a little busy with a project now, but next year will work for me. But we're talking about people who gave their entire life and everything to postpone because some people are busy. So this kind of chaos went on for about 8 months, and finally, we're like, what are we going to do? But we want to bring everybody together on this one, but it's not happening for 8 months. This is, everybody knows General Colin Powell. He's the most admired general in American history. He wrote many books, and one of his lessons is being responsible means sometimes pissing some people off. So we have to make a decision and move forward. We fixed the date for October last year and went on, and actually Dr. Ibrahim invited me here to announce the event itself, and we kick off. Once we announce the time starts ticking. Okay? So we have to figure out what are we going to do? What are we going to do on that anniversary event? So we have to eventually, people who made this struggle, there are few people, few elders here. These are all the people you can find in North America today. But the majority of the people are back home still. So we have to send people back home to gather the history and talk to those elders who are part of the struggle. So we had Obu Hangas, who was here today. He was there during summer, during the month of Ramadan. They moving every day and night to find people and interview them. And then we sent our international videographer, the best videographer, Ahmed Noor, who was studying abroad in Egypt. He also flew to Ethiopia, to Oromia, to gather this history. And then among that, so we spoke to, I just want to point out a few. Sheikh Musa Bati lived in Nagelle area. He is one of the critical people in the struggle. He's in fact the secretary of the struggle itself. He's one of the people who was negotiated face-to-face with the Haile Selassie during that time. So he was alive at the time. We were able to get, I had a video today, but I had video his message for all of us that we all wanted to hear. And basically saying, die for your country, die on your land. Don't ever accept oppression from anybody. And you all know, I would assume most of you know Colonel Haji Ali Chirri in Bidre. He's a lion of Madawlabu, so among the first pioneers in this struggle. And this is around Dallo, Menna area, and this is Ganir area. So many people. So we had all that history prepared for the event. And at the same time, we wanted to resolve the issues that were in the community. And as you can see, even animals, argument is fine, conflict is fine, but we should be able to get together and talk about it and resolve it. I just want to point out a few people who excelled in that area, because I want to highlight that the contribution they made. Over here, he's here with us today. His name is Hassan Sheikh Said Helgul. He's known for his patience and diplomacy. And he tried to bring everyone together under the tree, our own Oromo way. And he even tried to do it the way we use it here globally. He brought people together from Australia, Canada, United States, and Africa to resolve this issue. Somebody reminded me he should win Nobel Peace Prize at some point. On the other hand, he's a courageous person. And just look at the agenda for this event today, and he is willing to tackle the issues of his time. What is going on in the border areas within Oromo people and with Oromo people with other ethnic groups in Ethiopia is going on, he is willing to tackle it head on, at least talk about it. He is persistent and dedicated. Everybody who worked with him know that. He is a servant leadership. He is principled. I just want to give you an example. Everybody knows the kind of job he does. He's a 12-hour shift or so. So he will go to work, and when we're preparing for this anniversary, so he would go to work, come home around 6 or 7 o'clock, take a nap on his couch for about 30 minutes, then he will call me. Say, give me so-and-so's number. He will call him. So I'm trying to bring everybody together. So this is the kind of dedication he has. And while this is going on, there are some people who are pissed as a result of moving this thing forward. And they publicized, in fact, actually, Dr. Ibrahim and Kadiro on a mediocre website, including his name, his email, his phone number, just to discredit him and do that. So I picked up the phone and talked to him. So he said, Abdul, don't worry about this. Our people died for the cause. I know what they died for, and this is the right thing to do. Even if I lose everything on this, it's worth it. So that's the kind of dedication I see from him. On the other hand, we had people who, on the type of media, so Kadiro really shines on this one. He started a Facebook event. We had radio announcement. Nasibo is our voice there. So she's every week on the radio reminding everybody about the anniversary. We organize youth to volunteer and work on this event. Abdul Latif, who's also here today with us, is our working on flyers and organizing everybody. And then the day came. So we had some of the elders actually who were here. There are panel discussions to talk about that struggle, what they've been through, and what they have accomplished at that time. And we have also people join us from Europe by Skype. And we had, people like, for example, Haji Umar Malka, who is really a young student in elementary during the struggle. The Ombre struggle, kicked him out of school. He went to Somalia. He's one of our historians. And the event was moderated by Sena Jinjimo, who is also here, and Nageso Odo was a key speaker tomorrow. And we had many speakers, Dr. Ibrahim, Zakia, Kadiro, and our Oromo artists, and so many. I won't be able to get to it. But we also did this anniversary in Nairobi, Kenya. For that, we had our ambassador, Ahmed Abdul, who actually personally traveled there to oversee that event that went on. What I wanted to show here was the message from our Nairobi people, which is also very powerful.
Addunyaa kana keessatti diitti bilisomte hedduudha. Ibn Amerikaan illee gabrummaa jala turte jarana. Nurree har'a waan eeggannu bakkaan ga'uudhaaf tokko ta'uun nurra jira. Warrootiin keenya kan akka Waaqoo guutuu jagnoonni keenya kan akka Taaddasaa Birruu sodaattuun turre lubbuu isaaniitiif hin sassanne qabeenya isaanii hin sassanne jireenya isaanii ijaarrachuudhaaf hin yaanne wanni guddaan isaan yeroo hunda isaan fuuldura ture maal hoggaa jettan ummanni Oromoo bilisoomee ummanni Oromoo guddatee dagaagudha. Waan isaan nu lakkisanii deeman fakkeenya guddaadha jechuufan. Waan isaan nu dhiisaa nu dabarsanii too deeman kuni nuti yeroo hedduu yaadachuun nurra jira. Hundi keenyayyuu sammuu keenyatti qabannee ijoollee keenyatti illee dabarsuun nurra jira. Isaanirraa ka fudhanne kana ijoollee keenyatti yoo dabarsine malee qabsoon keenya hin qabatamuu hin dagatamu. Waa hundaayyuu dagachuu dandeenya. Haga yoomitti silaa baqannee biyya ormaa jiraanna. Biyya oduu qabnu maaltu nu dhibee ganna 50 kana keessatti wanti bilisummaa nu dhowwe maalinni sammuu keenya keessatti haa qaabannu yaa sirreeffannu. Kanaafuu tokkummaa keenya haa jabeessinu. Waaqayyo tokko nu haa tolchu. Waaqayyo obboleewwummaa keenya haa jabeessu. Waaqayyo jaalala nu jidduutti yaa dagaagsu. Waaqayyo jibbansa nu jidduu haa dhabamsiisu. Warra nu jidduutti jibbansa oofu obboleewwan jidduutti jibbansa oofu Waaqayyo daaraa haa godhu. Biyya keenyatti mirgaan akka gallu Waaqayyo nu haa godhu. Galatoomaa inni isiniin jedha.
Nagaan ooltanii nageenyi sanbadaadha fafayyaa waan namni dubbachuun faayidaan qabdu waan guddoon dubbaddu waan lam callaa saniin jedhu yoo amma suuraa armjal ciiftan laalle warri gaaf nun dhalatin gaafa namni jiru kun yoo jaarolee kan taat malee tokkollee hin dhalatin du'e guyyaa irraa Oromoo isii akkam jirtu beeku hojja sila kaasanii nam gaafatan yoof gaafatan maan gartan ammoo amma waanni guddoon dhibiin Oromoo waliin hojjetaaf ta'am guyyuma akkana warri kun Oromoof du'e guyyaa warra dhumnu hojjetan nama gamii walitti dhufuu danda'a Oromoo Oromummaatti akkasiin Oromummaa nu isan keessa hin jirtu nu keessa hin jirtu wanni nu keessa jira nami fagoo waan Oromoo keessa gale warri du'anaaf maal laal mee warri kun maal irra du'i hanni irratti hin doone hadha irratti hin doone Oromoo bakka tokko hin ga'u fula isiin qal jirti irraa fula tokko hin ga'uuf du'an lubbuun isaanii wanni isaan irra du'an karaatti nam jirirra silaaf umman lojjaa nami jiraatu nami jiru wanni nami ilmee dhaluuf wanni nami niiti fuudhee ilmee dabarfatuufi yoo ati dooti ilmeen tantee bakka ati buutu sun sii cufti awwannan isin jedha ganuma rabbi tokko nu haa tolchu dhiig jaallowwan keenya rabbi badii haa dhowwu rabbii war takka ta'ee karaa takka yaa'ee afaan takka dubbatee fula takka dubbate rabbi nu haa godhu kanaaf tokkummaa kajabeeffannu tokkummaa wal bulu hayaanu Oromoo wal bulu iyyaatu wal duri iyyaatu wal duubi iyyaatu dhibee Oromoo suni wal bulu yaanu naga oraa bulaa deebana.
I'm going to put all of this actually on the YouTube so that you will be able to see it in the future. But I want to say a little bit. How did these people with very small training and they didn't actually have material means to shake up the government of Ethiopia, who is really powerful in the region? What they are armed in their head. Okay? The enemy can take away your enemy, your materials, everything. But they cannot, if you're armed here, if they know they're free, nobody can take that away. And they are determined from top to bottom. Everybody has on the same page. And they have love and respect for each other. And I have another event, what this 50th anniversary meant, a comment from youth and elders.
I'm from
Very fine.
I'm from Bale or Madolabo, I think.
Where's that?
Oromia.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm from, is it Dirre or Harar? I'm not sure. It's one of them.
One of them, yeah.
But
this looks really... There were a lot of people knew about my grandfather, General Akogutu, but I knew very little. As I said, I grew up here mostly. I came here when I was 7 years old, and I never really reached out to my roots and learned about my history. And doing this project has allowed me to kind of connect with them and reach out to my roots.
I came to the United States when I was 5 years old, and so for the most part of my life, the Oromo, I never really had an Oromo identity because I never really, to be honest, cared about it because it didn't seem like it impacted me. So just being a part of this amazing event really taught me, and just learning from General Wako Gutu and who he was, because he was a man who had not only kept not only his religion, but also inspired me to keep my heritage and my culture as well, so that it's not my identity is not one-dimensional, and that it is as rich as our history is.
Namni bira jiru kun Sheikh Musa Baatii Waaqoo Jaarratii nama gaafa maqabsoo durii gaafa 63 san sekreetarii ture barreessaa warra qabsoo san gaafa soofuu ture ammoo ilmaan keessan ta'ammaati fakkaatuwwan keessan ta'ammaati warra amma jiru kana biyya alaa ka jiru ka biyya keessa jiru kanaaf maal dhaamta nama meessa nama
wanni nuti dhaamnu wanni nuti dhaamnu du'a biyya irratti du'a lafataan irratti du'a lafatee san irratti eenyu gadi dhamu tokkolleen lafatii yaa'anii lafatee Oromoo fudhatee gubbaa taa'ee.
Qachimaayii gaafina isa gaafadhu waan samar bira baatanii dabartan hariyaan hedduu isin biraa dhumte jaalalloon hedduu qabeen hedduu isin biraa dhume har'a ammoo yoo qabsoo sanni ummatiin kabajaa guyyaa keessan san kabajee rabbi moofri isin dheerese ummata samararra haftanii har'a maaltu isin dhagama ilmaan teessanii maal dhaamtanii maaltu isin dhagama.
Wanni nu dhagama dhugaatti an duraanii dhiini nam keenya sun akkasitti dhume hafee jedhee tigna raayyaadha. Nutilleen ka jirru anu fi mataan kiyya waan jiru gaafa dhiirti maqaan dhumte san maaf hin duwini jedheetiin gisa hedduu halkan hadirraaf na bula. Sanarratti ammoo yoo ilmaan nu dhalli amma kaateetiin waan kana qabsootana qabsoo bara 50 kan amma gartee jireessin yoo jettu
gartee akka nama ka du'e sulleen naagaleetti yaada akkasii qaba. Nulleen har'aa ka jiru ani nam haasa'u kun akkuma nam du'eetti uf qaba yaada san qaba. Ammunas beenin jira malee yaadnan qabu yaaduma nam du'e san qaba malee waan hariyaan tiyya gartee na biraa sottee fi amma yoo deebi'eetti ilmaan nu dhallu yookaan ka ilmaan teenu taate yookaan akaakawwan teenu taate irra waan abbootiin teenu irra dhumte san hin dhiifnu qabsoo sanarra garteetiin waan bara 50 sanarra addunyaa irraa mul'ifnaa yoo siin ka jettu taate anis akka nam jiruutti bisaabee isaanillee akka nam jiruutti saabee yaadeen qabsanii ammoo argee haga namni wadhaan hin duune Oromoon garteetiin waa inni tokko dhalee tokko hin guddifne kaan dhalee nu hin guddifne duranaaf eegi ilmi kennallee narra yaada kana qabu ka ta'e haga bulli haga bilisoomnu yaada akkasii qaba.
I just want to say, going forward, would like to say we have to acknowledge the progress we have made. We have made a lot of progress, but we have a long way to go from the goal that we want. I also would like to say our struggle must participate broad-based, not just Oromo people, because we live among many people in our country. It's not a country of a single people. But I have to say, our struggle has to rely, the basis of our struggle has to be on ourselves. And an example of Somalia, for example, the Dombere struggle heavily relied on the support from the Somalia. When Somalia government withdrew its support, the struggle went with it. And look at today, what's going on in Asmara. And it's just like everybody was in house arrest. So our struggle has to be based in our own people. And we have to be united. 40% of any population does not need to fight. It can bring to any government to its knees if it's united. But unity is not something we dream about, everybody wants to talk about. We have to do what unites us. Very consciously we have to do it. It takes a conscious effort. I also want to see a role of organizations like OSA on civic engagement. OSA does a lot of research, and that is great. What I want to see a little moving forward, what matters to people, to define that research, to change it into practice. I'm part of this organization now, and I care about it, but I want to say OSA doesn't matter until it does what matters to people. And this kind of thing is what matters to people. I want to see more of it. And going forward, this is the youth. This is where I want to leave you off. This is our youth. Now they're starting to understand what their fathers and grandfathers went through. And it's up to us, this representation of everybody here, it's up to us to take the struggle that they made to the next level. Thank you.